Once upon a time in a small village called Ojulowo, there lived a curious boy named Ade. Ade was always eager to explore and discover new things, even though his parents often warned him to be cautious. In Ojulowo, one of the most revered traditions was the Egungun festival. Every year during the festival, mysterious masqueraders known as Egungun would dance through the village streets, adorned in colorful costumes and masks, representing the spirits of ancestors. Ade had always been fascinated by the Egungun, but he had never seen their true faces. It was said that revealing the identity of an Egungun was a grave taboo, punishable by severe consequences. One afternoon, while playing in the forest near the village outskirts, Ade heard strange rhythmic drum beats echoing through the trees. Curiosity sparked within him, and he followed the sound deeper into the forest. As he ventured further, Ade stumbled upon a hidden clearing where he saw something that made his eyes widen in astonishment. There, standing amidst the trees, was an Egungun, its colorful costume swaying gracefully with each step. Ade couldn't resist the urge to see the face behind the mask. He crept closer, his heart pounding with excitement and fear. And then, in a moment of recklessness, he reached out and grabbed the mask, pulling it off. What he saw beneath the mask left him speechless. It was not the face of a spirit or an ancestor, but the face of a man he recognized from the village, Mr. Olatunji, the village elder. Before Ade could fully comprehend the gravity of what he had done, he heard a voice behind him. It was Mr. Olatunji, his eyes filled with a mixture of shock and anger. "You have committed a great offense, young one," Mr. Olatunji said solemnly. "You have unmasked an Egungun and violated our most sacred tradition." Ade's heart sank as he realized the severity of his actions. He had always been taught to respect the traditions of his village, but his curiosity had led him astray. "Now you must face the consequences," Mr. Olatunji continued, his voice stern. "But first, you must promise never to reveal what you have seen here today." Ade nodded, his eyes filled with remorse. He knew he had made a mistake, and he was ready to accept whatever punishment awaited him. But little did he know that was only the beginning of his journey into redemption. As Ade stood there, feeling the weight of his mistake, Mr. Olatunji led him back to the village in silence. Along the way, Ade couldn't help but wonder what kind of punishment awaited him. Would he be banned from the village? Would he have to perform some kind of ritual to make amends? When they reached the village, Mr. Olatunji took Ade to the elders' council, where they sat in a circle under the shade of a large tree. The other elders looked at Ade with stern expressions, their eyes filled with disappointment. "We have heard what you have done, Ade," said Chief Akande, the head of the council. "Unmasking an Egungun is a serious offense and it cannot go unpunished." Ade bowed his head, feeling ashamed of his actions. He wished he could turn back time and undo what he had done. "After much deliberation," Chief Akande continued, "we have decided on your punishment." Ade held his breath, bracing for the worst. "You will spend the next moon cycle serving the village," Chief Akande announced. "You will help with chores, assist the elders, and learn the importance of our traditions. Only then will you truly understand the gravity of your actions. Ade nodded, relieved that the punishment wasn't as severe as he had feared. He knew it would be hard work, but he was determined to make things right. And so, for the next month, Ade worked tirelessly, learning from the elders and doing his best to contribute to the village. Along the way, he gained a newfound respect for the traditions that have been passed down through generations. But little did he know, his journey was far from over. As the moon cycle came to an end, Ade would face even greater challenges and discoveries that will shape his destiny in ways he could never have imagined. As the last days of Ade's punishment passed, he began to feel a sense of pride in his work and a deeper connection to his village and its traditions. He had learned so much from the elders, and he was grateful for the opportunity to make amends for his mistake. On the final day of his punishment, Ade stood before the elders, feeling a mix of nervousness and anticipation. Chief Akande looked at him with a smile, nodding in approval. "You have done well, Ade," Chief Akande said. "You have shown remorse for your actions and a willingness to learn from your mistakes. You are a true son of Ojulowo." Ade beamed with pride, grateful for the chance to redeem himself in the eyes of his village. But as he prepared to return to his normal life, a sudden commotion broke out in the village square. People were shouting and pointing towards the edge of the village, where a group of strangers had appeared, dressed in unfamiliar clothes. Ade's heart raced as he realized that something was wrong. Chief Akande turned to Ade with a grave expression. "It seems we have visitors," he said, "and they bring news that will change the course of our village forever." Ade's curiosity burned brighter than ever as he followed the elders to the village square, eager to learn what fate had in store for Ojulowo. Little did he know the arrival of these strangers would set in motion a chain of events that would test his courage, his loyalty, and his understanding of the world around him. As Ade and the villagers gathered in the square, the strangers approached, their faces serious and determined. They introduced themselves as government officials from the nearby town, sent to deliver an important message. The lead official, a stern-looking man named Mr. Okonkwo, stepped forward and addressed the crowd. "Good people of Ojulowo," he began, and his voice echoing across the square. "We come bearing news from the government." A hush fell over the crowd as everyone waited anxiously to hear what Mr. Okonkwo had to say. "It has come to our attention that your village is in need of modernization," Mr. Okonkwo continued. "We believe that with the right resources and support, Ojulowo can thrive in the modern world." Ade listened intently, his mind racing with questions. What did modernization mean? And what would it mean for the traditions and ways of life he held dear? But before he could voice his concerns, Chief Akande stepped forward, his expression firm but thoughtful. "We appreciate your offer of assistance, Mr. Okonkwo," Chief Akande said, "but we must carefully consider how we proceed. Our traditions and way of life are deeply rooted in this land, and we cannot simply abandon them in favor of progress." Mr. Okonkwo nodded, understanding the chief's concern. "Of course," he said, "but we urge you to think about the future of your village and its people. Change is inevitable. and it is up to you to decide how to embrace it. With that, the government officials left the village, leaving Ade and others to ponder the implication of their words. As the sun began to set, casting shadows across the square, Ade couldn't help but wonder what future held for Ojulowo. Would they choose to embrace modernization with all its promises, or would they hold fast to their traditions even in the face of change? Only time could tell. In the days that followed, the village of Ojulowo buzzed with conversation as the villagers debated the future of their home. Some argued passionately for modernization, citing the benefits it could bring, such as improved infrastructure and access to education and healthcare. Others, like Chief Akande, were hesitant, fearing that embracing change would mean losing touch with their cultural heritage. Ade found himself torn between these two perspectives. On one hand, he understood the allure of progress and the opportunities it could provide for him and his fellow villagers. But on the other hand, he couldn't bear the thought of losing the traditions that had shaped his identity and connected him to his ancestors. As the debate raged on, Ade sought solace in the quiet of the forest, where he often went to think and reflect. There, among the towering trees and chirping birds, he found clarity in the wisdom of nature. One day, while wandering through the forest, Ade stumbled upon an ancient baobab tree, its roots reaching deep into the earth. As he gazed up at the tree's majestic branches, a sudden realization struck him like a bolt of lightning. The baobab tree had stood tall for generations, weathering storms and droughts, yet it remained firmly rooted in the soil, drawing strength from its deep connection to the land. In that moment, Ade understood that, like the baobab tree, the people of Ojulowo could embrace change without losing sight of their roots. With a newfound sense of purpose, Ade returned to the village, determined to bridge the divide between tradition and modernization. He shared his revelation with Chief Akande and other elders, urging them to consider a path forward that honored both the past and the future. Chief Akande listened intently to Ade's words. His expressions are thoughtful. "You speak with the wisdom of someone far beyond your years, Ade," he said. "Perhaps you are right. Perhaps there is a way for us to embrace change without losing ourselves in the process." And so, inspired by Ade's vision, the villagers of Ojulowo embarked on a journey of transformation, blending the old with the new to create a future that honored their heritage while embracing the opportunities of modern world. As the sun set on the horizon, casting a warm glow over the village, Ade felt a sense of hope and optimism for the days to come. The road ahead will be challenging, but with courage, resilience, and a deep respect for their roots, the people of Ojulowo are ready to face whatever the future held. As the day turned into weeks, the village of Ojulowo began to undergo a gradual transformation. With Ade's guidance and Chief Akande's wisdom, the villagers worked together to find a balance between tradition and modernization. They started small, implementing simple changes like building new homes with modern materials, while preserving the architectural style of their ancestors. They also established community gardens to grow crops using sustainable farming practices, combining traditional knowledge with modern techniques. As word of Ojulowo's innovative approach spread, other villages took notice, and soon visitors from far and wide came to learn from their example. Ade felt proud to see his village becoming a beacon of hope and inspiration for others. But amidst the excitement of progress, Ade never forgot the lessons he had learned from the baobab tree. He knew that their success depended on staying true to their roots and honoring the wisdom of their ancestors. One day, as Ade sat beneath the shade of the baobab tree, reflecting on how far they had come, he heard a familiar voice behind him. It was Mr. Olatunji, the village elder whose true identity Ade had unmasked during the Egungun festival. "I have been watching you, Ade," Mr. Olatunji said, his eyes twinkling with pride. "You have grown into a remarkable young man, wise beyond your years." Ade smiled, grateful for Mr. Olatunji's words of encouragement. He knew he had made mistakes in the past, but he also knew that those mistakes had helped shape him into the person he was today. As the sun began to set, casting a golden shadow over the village, Ade felt a deep sense of gratitude for the journey that had brought him to this moment. And as he looked toward the future, he knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, he would face them with courage, resilience, and a steadfast commitment to preserving the rich tapestry of traditions that bound the village together. As the years passed, Ojulowo continued to thrive, guided by the principles of unity, innovation, and respect for tradition. The village became known far and wide for its unique blend of old and new, drawing visitors from distant lands who marveled at the harmonious coexistence of tradition and modernity. Ade grew into a respected leader within the community, admired for his wisdom, humility, and unwavering dedication to the well-being of his people. He carried the lessons he had learned from the baobab tree within him always, reminding himself and others of the importance of staying rooted in their cultural heritage. As Ade stood on the outskirts of the village one evening, watching the sun dip below the horizon, he felt a sense of peace wash over him. The journey that had begun with a curious child unmasking an Egungun had led him to this moment, a moment of unity, harmony, and a hope for the future. The moral of the story is that no matter the problems of the present or fears of the unknown future, we are stronger when we stand together. By embracing unity, resilience, and respect for tradition, we can weather any storm and emerge stronger and wiser.